All right, so let me throw this in here. I do apologize. So what I want everybody to do, if you have a chance, if you don't have access to a computer, no problem. You can always go back to the Facebook group page. Right now, I'm about to upload a file here. Upload file. This is going to be the first section of the workbook. So if you have an opportunity right now to download this, please do. Section 1, upload, section 1 of workbook. And I'm also going to put this on screen as well, so I'll be able to share my screen shortly here. Um, okay, perfect. All right, so that is there. Okay, let's see. All right, perfect. So now that should be posted on the Facebook group. So you can go ahead and download that now. And I am going to share my screen just in case for those who do not have access, you can at least follow along. Let's see, let me put this full screen. Just 1 second here. Share screen. All right, perfect. Please let me know if y'all can see the screen right now. You can actually chat. There should be a chat box available. And if you don't, just go ahead and give me a quick nod. Let me know somebody sees Colab. Okay, perfect. All right, great. All right, so let's go full size for right now. All right, so let me just start off real quick. I do appreciate everybody joining in on this. Again, this is going to help me and help you at the same time. But ultimately, this workbook is going to be something that we're actually trying to put public. We want this to actually be published. We want this to go out to people. I want to continue to add to this book to make it even better. So your feedback is very important. If you can, always just, participate, give me feedback. Anything that is not clear, anything that needs to be further explained, I want to definitely start to put those things in the workbook right now. So one of the things that I do want to tell you, I don't have a title for this yet. So everybody will participate in actually giving this thing a title. So I want to be able to put an acknowledgement in this book as well to let people know that uh, you all were my first beta testers. Y'all participated, y'all gave me feedback, and also y'all helped me put the book together all together. So I appreciate everybody that's participating in this, and I'm hoping that as we go through this, you'll get something out of it. All right, now, so I'm gonna be honest. This is not for the faint of hearts. This is actual business or brand development. This is going into some very hard things to think about. Some things you may not had a chance to actually go through and start thinking about them. Some stuff you may see through other business channels, other networking groups. You may see these things in other places, but a lot of people kind of bypass this step just because of how much work is involved. So I want you to continue to go through this. I don't want you to give up. If you come across something that you struggle with, like that's why we have everybody in this group. I want everybody to act as a mastermind to help people through the challenges of understanding. So one of the biggest things is like finding your target audience. Who should I even target? And so, you have a lot of companies that'll say, oh, yeah, everybody's my target audience. I mean, anybody that buys shoes is my target audience, not necessarily. we need to start to narrow down that target audience so we can um, uh, actually create intentional marketing pieces to attract those people, but you still have the trickle down effect. So you may also start to get other people purchasing from you as well that's outside of your target audience. So that's just one example, but ultimately the key is to participate and just help each other through those processes. um, all right, so another thing, see if I can get this to the, there we go, table of contents. All right. All right, so as you can see, I started to break these out into sections. So the intake form is basically that general information section already. So you pretty much have filled that out. If you have not did the intake form, Annette, you don't have to because I already have your information. But if you have not did the intake form, please remember to go to the Facebook group and click on the link to actually go to the intake form and fill out your information. One of the reasons why I want to do that is so that we can get your information, like know the name of your business, know what you're selling, so we can further help you as we get resources together. We can actually, provide those resources to you in case you need some other help with your products and services, marketing, branding, anything. So please do that. All right, moving on from there, we're going to talk specifically about defining who you are. So this is some soul searching. You gotta know who you are. And by the way, I told everybody earlier, this is really a laid back type of sessions. If you want to eat, you got your kids or whatever. So, this is not super, super formal or anything. So I want you to get comfortable because we need to be comfortable enough to really start to dig in and just let the brain kind of just, let those thoughts come in. So just get comfortable. You don't have to be all formal and stuff. So, but anyway, going back to defining who you are. We're going to go over some sections in that. In the actual PDF that I sent to you, you should be able to actually type in the fields. If you're not able to, you can always just get a piece of paper. You can write your notes there, or you can use, open up Word, Microsoft Word, and just write your answers in there. Ultimately, the key is that this book is also going to be digital. So that way you can actually write your answers in the workbook, or you can actually, if you have a physical copy of this book, you'll be able to write in the fields as well. So you'll have those opportunities. All right, so team building is another thing that we're going to talk about today, and then also how your brand affects your business model. And if you don't have a business model, I do have a lean business model canvas that's attached to this document. So that way, between our next sessions, you'll be able to actually fill that out and and basically build out your business model and test it. Okay. All right. So that's that. Before we get into it, I do want to do introductions. I want everybody to start to get to know each other, as well as tell your name and basically your business and your product or service, what you do. All right. So if I'm gonna call y'all out, so that way you can just unmute when you are ready. So go ahead, Tario, if you can go ahead and unmute and tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Tario Dansby. I'm the founder of SWA, which stands for Southwest Arkansas Sports and Recreation. Um, we provide youth athletic services for kids. I also want to get into the after school and summer programs as well. Um, I have a staff that has professional athletes as well as educational professionals, and I want to utilize that in the best way that I can to help serve my community. So,
Perfect. All right. And go ahead and Mute that. Okay, perfect. And now let's hear from Pamela. Pamela, go ahead and unmute if you can and tell us your name, your business, and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Pamela Milton. I have a virtual administration business. We are a company that are mainly for startup businesses, entrepreneurs. We haven't gotten into the corporate, like big companies yet, so we're mainly working with small companies, entrepreneurs, anything of that nature. If you have, or if you're trying to start up something or want to do anything, a lot of times you cannot afford an admin full time. So we try to cut back on the idle cost of administrative services. We'll help you with the startup, anything admin. And I'm based out of Georgia.
All right, perfect, perfect. Okay, I appreciate you coming in too as well, Pamela. Okay, and if you can go ahead and hit the mute button on that, we're gonna move on to, it looks like Keela Reed. There we go.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi,
how's
my
it
name
going?
is Keela.
Hey,
My
how's
last name, hey, my last name is Maxie. Reed is my maiden name. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to learn a lot about branding. I'm pretty much a startup. I'm starting up a coaching company or business. And also my daughter is a entrepreneur. She's 13. She's been doing her photography for about a year and a half, almost 2 years now. She's a part of a entrepreneurial nonprofit group of girls. And so I just want to be able to increase our branding and also hers as well. And we
nice?
are currently living in Southern California.
Okay, how's the weather over there?
It is raining. It's been raining and it's cold, and this is
Yes,
not the usual.
I hear that definitely, definitely. Well, I do appreciate you also tuning in for this session. If you can go ahead and hit mute, there we go. And all right, we're gonna go to Faith. Faith, please let me know who you are and what you're doing.
Hello, Kevin. And I'm really excited that you have this program going and that we get to help. My name is Faith Watson. I'm located out of Arlington, Texas, which is just right outside of Dallas. What I do is I actually help individuals, or i.e. businesses, save money or make money on their never-ending bills, like their phone, their gas, their electricity, their internet. We're getting ready to partner with Spectrum, and we're actually going with identity theft, and that should be going in the beginning of March. And I'm looking to target more businesses because business owners understand the value of getting paid on bills that they have to pay anyway. And on top of
Yes,
that, we help feed hungry kids.
that is awesome. Yes, definitely. Well, I appreciate you telling us what you do. And look, yeah, it sounds like we're gonna have a really good group. We have so many different businesses, and I think that's gonna really help with brainstorming. So I appreciate you coming in on that. All right, if you can mute yours on that, we're gonna move to Annette. Annette, please tell us who you are and what you do.
Hey everybody, I'm Annette Johnson, creator, owner of Soul in the Sky. Soul in the Sky is sorry y'all, I'm printing. I thought I was gonna get away with it before I had to go.
No problem.
But I am the owner creator of Soul in the Sky. Soul in the Sky is a company that creates natural products such as hair, body, and health items. They don't contain chemicals. Most of the products are probably 3, maybe 4 ingredients tops. And they are all natural, organic most times. We we're just now starting up, I guess you could say, with the branding. That's why we employed Kevin and Collab to help us with branding, so we can spread out. We're currently in the Charlotte area and just trying to spread out a little bit further than that.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in as well. I know you're going to provide some interesting feedback from North Carolina. We just actually went out there and we had a really good time. Different environment from Texas, I got to say, but awesome. I mean, it was just an awesome trip. So thank you. I appreciate you, Annette, telling us who you are. If you can hit the mute button on that, let's see who else that we have. And I'm going to introduce Takia. She may be in a different room. I don't know if Takia can talk right now, but she's also going to help me with this as well. I kind of talked her into it. She is a mastermind herself. Just awesome. Takia, are you able to talk or no?
Hi, sorry about that. I kind of have a few things going on. Just left a ribbon cutting for Zari, for one of Zari's educators. But okay, so I'm supposed to be doing an introduction?
Yes, tell us who you are.
Or am I supposed to be doing an introduction as your assistant and your sidekick, or am I supposed to be doing an introduction for the business I want to launch? Which one?
I want you to do both, because people need to know what you're doing as well.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Takia, and I am Kevin's girlfriend, and I'm also his assistant every now and then in Collab Creative Group. And typically what I will do in the business is I will help with kind of the market research, the structure, the business model creation, and kind of where things really need to be thought out and kind of buttoned up. Is that adequate?
Yes.
Is that fair enough to say? Okay,
yes,
awesome.
Definitely.
And as far as my baby, what I want to do is I am launching a company called The Minimalist Wage. And The Minimalist Wage is a company that focuses on international finance opportunities for people who subscribe to a nomadic and a minimalist way of living.
Perfect. All right. So she is going to be able to offer some awesome feedback on that as well, or more comments and different things about her business venture. So I'm excited to have you joining us as well. And thank you for helping me. Okay. So if you can hit your mute button too, and we will continue on. Perfect. I think that is everybody in the session at this time. Anybody else that is just tuning in, I'm gonna just say this, go ahead and just type in the comments. Once I post this on Facebook, type in the comments, let us know who you are, exactly what you do, so that way we can all kind of help each other through this process. Okay. All right, so moving on, we're going to go ahead and start to dig in this. Again, so we have different sections. Right now, we're going to focus on section 1. So we're going to get through this as quick as possible. So as you get your notes, you go ahead and get your paper, get your computer ready. All right, so because we're about to begin, okay? All right, so again, on this form, basically you have the general information. Let me actually open this up for a second. You have this general information form. That's basically the intake form that you filled out. So you can just kind of skip over this. This is just for any time that you change companies, or, you know, if this is something that you start with a brand new set of people, you know, if you have like a board of directors, like you can all use this just to kind of make sure you have everybody's information, and then kind of go from there. So for now, we're going to go ahead and skip over that section. One of the things that we operate on is our success brand framework. This is ultimately our map of making sure we hit every single section of the brand foundation. So that way we know we have everything in place to actually help you get out into the market. So I'm gonna zoom in on this and show you exactly what we're gonna be doing. Let's see if this thing will allow me to. Let's see, there we go. So basically where we're starting is defining who you are. And so as we get through the process of answering questions, really understanding who we are as a business, we'll go ahead and start to define those areas. Then we'll move into the identifying your target audience. We'll do research and interviews. This is where the market research comes in. So we'll do interviews and stuff. We'll specifically talk about that. Develop your brand position. This is all kind of included once we start to talk to your audience and your competitors. You'll start to see kind of where you sit in the industry that you're in. All right, from there, we're going to go ahead and develop your brand personality. This is where we come in and figure out exactly how does your brand talk? What is this voice and tone? If you think about your brand as a person, like everybody has a different personality. So you talk to people a certain kind of way. Your demeanor is some type of way whenever you're around certain things, you know. So those things we have to start to define to get the personality of your business. And then we go into developing your brand identity and your tagline, something that you can, use whenever you're out in networking groups or whatever, telling people about your business. You need something quick, straight to the point, and something that you can tell them that they'll know exactly what you do. We'll help you with a 30-second elevator pitch. So that way, whenever you're at networking groups or whatever, you can quickly just give them the information that you need or that they need, and sit down and see what comes out of that. So we're not going to go into the other areas. The reason being is that this involves like your graphics team. These are things that we will continue individually as we finish out this workbook. So if y'all do want additional services from Collab, this is where we start to come in and start to develop your brand guide, your marketing strategy and sales funnel. We are going to implement the sales funnel kind of early. So I did take that out and I put it into the sections that we're going to be talking about. But marketing tools, this is something that we go over, automating and delegating, implementing and tracking, and then business performance monitoring. These are all things that we start to implement as we get the foundation of your brand going. This ultimately creates the success brand framework. All right, anybody have any questions at this point? No? Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to go to the next section here. So this is where we start to get into the meat of things. And let's see, here we go, perfect. So defining who you are. So who are you exactly? You ever just think about who you are and then the business that you're trying to create. Sometimes it's a little different. You may have to be somebody else in this business, but when you go home, you act a totally different way. Trust me, I've I've worked at other companies where I'm seen one way and then I go home and I'm just out on the couch or whatever, doing whatever I want to do. But ultimately, so people go through life meandering around. That's one of these words that I learned in Toastmasters, meandering. So I had to throw that in there. So, so you just kind of wander around trying to figure out who you are. What do I want to grow up to be, and all these things. So once you finally found that passion or whatever, you start to hone in on that and figure out exactly, this is something I want to do. Now, for me, I think I actually knew probably my second year of college. I think about my second year of college is when I actually figured out, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. And I just, ever since then, I mean, for I think it's about 19 years. It's been about 19 years, and I've been doing the same thing. I just been hitting different areas of what, design, graphics, web design, and all these things. But it's always been in marketing, design, and advertising. So it took me a while to get there. Ultimately, you have to know that. You have to know that about yourself, what you enjoy, what you like. So in the very first question, we're going to ask, what is your purpose? What is your purpose for your business, what you're doing in your business? What is your purpose? I want you to go ahead and write that down. If anybody feels like sharing this with us, I would love to hear your feedback or hear your purpose for this. Does anybody feel like sharing today? No, maybe, maybe no. Okay. All right. So,
I have a question.
go ahead.
So, when you're saying your purpose, are you referring to your purpose as the individual founder, or are you saying the purpose of your business?
The purpose as an individual founder. So, what this basically means, and let me also bring up my notes here so that way I will have all this together here. So you as a founder, what is your purpose? What is the impact, or what is the thing that you want to do in this business? You have to know that. You can't just, there are people that just start a business just to make money. Okay, if that's your purpose, then that's your purpose. But it helps when you have a passion, like what drives you to do what you want, what you're doing now. What is that drive? What is that purpose? Does that help, Takia? Does that kind of help? I think she may be frozen. There we go.
Yes, it does. I was giving you the thumbs up on video. I'm like, yep.
Okay, perfect, perfect. All right. So once you have what's your purpose, we're going to go into what is your goal? What is your end goal? The reason why I put this in is because a lot of people will have some type of end goal. Maybe, hey, I want to retire. I want to retire well. I want to have a good retirement a payout. I want to live in a nice house on the beach, or on a ranch or whatever. Uh, Knowing your end goal also will determine if being an entrepreneur is technically for you, because a lot of people, there's a lot of different ways of getting to that end goal. You have to really think about what has I want to say, like, what how many risks are out there, or what type of risk do you run into when being an entrepreneur versus you know um, trading or doing other things. There's a lot of other things that will help you accumulate that wealth. So you really have to understand that end goal. So I want you to write in your end goal, so that way hey, I may sell this off, or I'm building this for my family. All right, so the next section here is going to be, what do you want to launch, or I'm sorry, why do you want to launch this product or service? Again, so thinking about the product or service that you're actually offering, you have to understand one thing. Does your audience, does the people that you actually are looking for, do they have the willingness to pay you? And is it something that they really truly need? Are you solving a problem? You know, so you have to really think of, why do you want to launch this product or service? Is it just because you feel that it's important to you? But you got to also understand, you're reaching out to the masses. Will they feel the same way? Do they share the same thought process or passion or whatever you're doing? So um, understanding why you're actually launching that product or service is going to be a vital part to this process. Hey, Felice, how's it going? I'm glad you can make it. I thought she was going to just tune in. She came on down to the office. Awesome. All right, perfect. Okay, so we're going to move on down to number 4. of what you value. Now, this goes to just you personally. You personally, what do you value? Not your company. We're not talking core values or anything else. And another reason why this is very important is because people do not like, there are times where you actually will, you'll meet new people, you come across new people, but if their values are not the same as yours, let's just say you believe in disciplining your child. I'm like, my parents, they beat me, they beat me like, not to say, not to make it a big thing, but no, like I got whippings, and that was one of those things that my parents believed in. But there are other parents out there that do not believe in whooping your child. So those values are different. Now, is that somebody that you want to associate with? Is that somebody that you want your child to go over to their house? You really have to start to think about your values. And then also, once we get deeper into this, we're going to tie that into your core values of your business to really understand and think, okay, will this all, is this cohesive to everything that I'm building and the people that I'm trying to attract? So like gun laws is another one. Some people believe in, yeah, we all should have a gun. There's people like, no, we should get rid of our guns. So again, who do you want to attract? So understanding your values is going to be very important at this point. So fill in that section. You may have multiple values, so please fill in as much as you can possibly think of at this point. And if I'm going too fast, let me know. I'll slow down. And, or, if this is fine, I'll keep it moving. I know right now it seems like we're just kind of filling in information. Like I said, this is the easy part. So just kind of want to skip through this so we can get to the discussion area. And we'll start to kind of discuss some of these things. All right, the next section is what are your products? So I want you to list all the products that you're offering, and products meaning something that's actual tangible. These are tangible deliverables. This can also be a digital product because that is a digital tangible or a digital product that's sold without you being involved. You do not have to actually perform a task to fulfill the order as far as like once they purchase. So put in your products in this area here. All right, the next section is going to be what are your services. Some people may have both. Just really depends. If you do have a digital product along with your services, like what we're trying to do now, I would put both. But at this point, if you just have a service, go ahead and just place all or input any of your services in this area right here.
So, Kevin, quick question.
Yes.
You knowing what, the type of situation that I have,
Mm-hmm.
what would be the difference? I understand the difference between a product and a service,
Mm-hmm.
but would I have products?
No, you
I'm more of a
basically,
service based.
yes, correct.
Okay.
Because you basically are coaching. You're
And
coaching
teaching, that type of
yeah,
thing.
uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
how to play basketball and and all the different sports and everything. Mm-hmm. All right. And what we're going to talk about next is to whom are you selling? All right. So this is where I can have a little participation in this. And I would like to. We're going to do this classroom style. I'm going to call on somebody. But ultimately, I want to see exactly like who are the type of people that you want to sell to. So if Keela, are you there?
Yes, I am
Okay.
here.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so just to get some participation going here, I just want to get everybody's kind of juices flowing and everything. To whom are you selling to?
When I think of whom I'm selling to, I think of my target audience.
Mm-hmm.
And for because I'm a military spouse of 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and my husband is still currently active duty.
Okay.
Um, so on one side of my coaching platform, I would like to to be able to coach military spouses,
Mm-hmm.
and then on the other side, which is I guess would be kind of like two businesses. Um, I'm a spiritual coach as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of different hats, but um, so those women on the overcoming victorious side, I believe they would be more um, spiritual based
Mm-hmm.
or have some type of background or not afraid to have the spiritual coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know what else to say.
No problem.
I
No
know most
problem.
of them will be women.
Okay.
I don't foresee men mostly.
Uh-huh.
It's just I just naturally sometimes I can be like a mama bear.
Yeah, no problem.
For some of the a lot of the ladies, I became like a mentor.
Hmm.
So
Perfect.
yeah,
Now,
okay.
okay, so we're talking about spiritual based women. What?
Hmm.
Okay, so and I've had a couple of other clients talk about this before, and we were talking about like when is that point of revelation? Like when does a person really start to really get into their calling and feel that spirituality kind of sink in to where like services like yours and others they start to actually pursue or purchase different coaching and lifestyle changes and different things like that. What age range would you say that happens?
I'm thinking because I think it's a more mature mindset.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking late 20s,
Okay.
um, between the late 20s, around the 40, early 40
Okay. All
age
right.
range.
Perfect. Okay. And also, just as far as like race, ethnicity, who are you really kind of targeting in that area?
I believe naturally, I believe it's going to be African Americans.
Okay.
Um, I also coach predominantly Caucasians in the military,
Hmm.
but I have a feeling that it may kind of balance out for the
Okay.
military side. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And it sounds like to me they would typically have some type of family, kids, or I don't know, older, younger. Do you have any kind of suspicion on that?
Um, yeah, yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
They would probably have children, um, and probably would be either been married or
Okay.
divorced or something like that. Because I've never, I got married like at 24. So I've been married for a while. So I
Hmm.
don't really know what it means to be single. So I can't speak to that. So
Right.
I
Right.
really don't want to be able to I don't know how to help people who
Yeah.
I haven't experienced.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I mean, and I find that depending on where you are in your life, what, like say stage levels, page, whatever, whatever page you're on in your life, typically you start to attract the same type of people. You start to kind
Absolutely.
of walk around those circles of the same type of people, because I mean you could just relate to them. I mean you have a better understanding. I cannot, I can't really get down with the younger crew, the early 20s. I mean, I love them. They can have fun and do what
Yeah,
they're doing. I just can't because my bedtime is about 10 o'clock. So yeah. I will let them
I feel you.
do that. Okay, so occupation wise and education wise, what do you think they would have?
Typically, um, I have not found that when I say uneducated, because I don't want to seem rude, but when I say uneducated, meaning college education
Right.
with degrees and so forth or certifications,
Hmm.
I don't typically see individuals purchasing coaching programs if they're not somewhat of a professional
Hmm. Hmm.
with some type of educational background.
Okay.
So, but on the military side, that's different. I come across a lot of spouses on both, a lot of spouses who are professionals, but then there's a lot of them who are not. However, they do have the means to purchase a coaching program
Okay.
because
Perfect.
most of them are married or something.
Exactly. Now, what would you say like that income level would be to afford your services?
Um, Now this is, I don't like to charge, like I haven't even gotten to the point to where um I'm charging a lot or
Hmm.
even charging, it's very minimum.
Hmm.
But their income level, I would believe starting at
Okay.
40,000 a year. Um, I think I would like to say 50, but I think I need to,
Yeah, we
yeah,
can
but
put a range.
40 to 60 or 75.
Okay.
I don't know if that's too high.
Okay.
I don't
No,
want to be inconsiderate, but yeah.
it's no problem. Definitely. So what we're doing right now is basically kind of building an idea.
Okay.
None of this is really, I mean, you may have validated certain points at this point if you're already kind of selling and doing business right now. But these are all points that, you may not be sure of. You may have, just it might be around this much. But ultimately, these are validating points. These are things that we can start to validate. And then as we start to go through the process, now we're specifically looking for people. Let's just say we validate it, and we know for a fact that most of these people are making about 45K to 50. And
Okay.
so I know for a fact that this is my income level for the target audience. That's been confirmed based on the people that I've already talked to. So this is one of the reasons why I do it this early, just to kind of go through your what we call a persona or an avatar, is basically to see how much you know, but not only that, see where we need to start to validate to make sure that we're attracting the right customers. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for participating on that.
Thank you. I
All
was in the
right.
hot seat.
Yes, definitely. All right, all right. So we're gonna keep it moving, and we're gonna get another volunteer here. So we're gonna ask the next question is that's gonna be what problem or need do you solve? And I'm actually gonna reach out to Faith because I know what Faith does, and she is definitely solving some problems out there. Faith, are you still there?
I am.
Yes, I
I
need to
am.
tell
Yeah,
me what problem or need are you solving?
I am helping people with their finances.
Yes.
So when it comes down to saving money on their bills, helping individuals on a certain, like their cellular bills, helping them get it up to free, also helps with finances back into their pockets too as well. So that's the need at the end of the day that I solve. I help them with the money.
Awesome, awesome. Now let's dig a little deeper. Let's dig a little deeper, okay?
Okay.
All right, because you got a lot of companies. Oh yeah, we can save money on your bill. Blah 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 blah. Now, what happens to a person that can save money on a bill or save money with any services that you offer? What happens to that person?
That it would be up to them, but they could take the savings
Hmm.
and put it into their, if they wanted to start a business, they could actually talk to somebody for financial services
Hmm.
and start putting money away
Hmm. Hmm.
for their future.
Yes.
Different things like that. That's usually what I suggest to them to do. So this way, the money that they're saving, they could turn around and put it into something else so they can have, a better future,
Hmm.
with their finances at the end.
Nice. Perfect. Perfect. Now, all right. So saving for my future, but why is that important to me? Like, why is, me starting a business important for for uh, using that money that basically I saved to launch this business? Why is that important?
Having cash flow is very important. And if you are going to spend money on the same bills anyway, you might as well save on it. If you're going to use it, have the extra income coming in to feed your business, because if you in the beginning when you're starting off, depending on what the person's business is, it could be either generating income right away or maybe not generating income right away. And so a good thought to have is 6 months if they're not working a job on the side while they're doing their business
Okay.
so that they can get up and they can get running. If they're investing into if having a business is something that somebody is not interested in, but they are looking to want to go into stocks and do different things like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
they could, use that money for that to build their nest egg for
Right.
later on.
Right. And so this is like I like how you're kind of starting to pull a story. You're starting to pull a narrative together. And that's what I'm want to speak to you on on this thing. So ultimately, when you start to solve problems and needs that your customers are looking for, ultimately what you're doing is trying to appeal to their narrative. What that basically means is understanding your customer's need or problem, but then now I've created a narrative that can really start to hit pain points and really start to dig deep inside them. So let's just say, for instance, Faith is saving me money on my cell phone bill, but now you know what? My children, they've been talking about going to Disneyland for I don't know how long, and now she saved me an extra $80 a month. So now, I can start to save that $80 so I can actually take my kids to Disneyland. So I'm now appealing to that storyline. And so once we go deeper into this, we're going to start talking about um, doing customer interviews and talking to people to get those narratives. And as we start to see some commonalities between them all, we can create our own narrative to start really appealing to their needs and their problems, to really start to sell products to them a lot easier. It just makes it a low hanging fruit at that point. Okay, Faith, I appreciate you. I think oh, don't go anywhere yet, Faith. I'm sorry. Takia
Okay.
has a question here. So go ahead, Takia.
Okay, sorry, I have to unmute. Can I say something about Faith's industry though, really
Yes.
quickly?
Uh-huh.
Pardon aside. And I only know this because I actually had to, someone hired me to do market research on her industry before.
Hmm.
And one of the pain points in terms of why people don't transition, even though they're being saved money, it's the pain of disconnection. So that's typically like a deterrent. Like even though you're talking to people logically, and you're like logically you can save $80 a month, or logically you can save $100 a month. It's the pain of disconnection from switching services that actually deter people from being motivated to save that amount of money. Just as an aside.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so that might be something that you want to kind of put in your notes, right? So it's like, oh, I got to call, and then I got to do these terminations, and then I got to switch over, and then I got to port a number. Yeah, it's $80, no big a deal. I'll just go to work. So anyway, that's just kind of something that you might want to
Oh,
think about.
okay. I'll keep that in the back of my mind. I don't think I really run into too much of that. The process is pretty simple, but and they keep defining it. But I'll definitely keep that in mind if there's, if there's a pain point where somebody's not moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question about for my business. So when we talk about solving problems,
Hmm.
so what I'm coming across when I talk to people is it's a problem that they're going to have in the future, but they don't know that it's coming down the line,
Right.
for example. So like, how do you deal with that? Like, because the nature of the business that I'm going into, my business is about saying this is what's actually getting ready to happen to you 5, 10, 15 years out. This is actually going to be a problem. You don't know that it's going to be a problem, but in about 10 to 15 years or 5 years, this is going to be a problem for you.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
So like, uh, and just thinking about finances, I mean, in the financial industry, they do it all the time. Typically, they will kind of walk you through, let's just say they're talking about retirement. They walk you through and say, hey, if you do not save this amount of money in this period, then 15 years from now, you're still going to be working at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? It's always the comparison. But again, you have to also educate your customer enough for them to start to understand where they are currently to where they're going to end up going if things do not change. So let's just say you can see the writing on the wall. You see that there is a problem, whether that's, through the government changes, laws, all these things. You see that kind of trickling down. But the average person is just, oh, I'm just going to go to work and do whatever I need to do. Okay, then basically you are looking at how can I relate what's going on with my target audience? And goes back to, customer interviews, understanding your customer. Once I understand like the uh, my customer's narrative, like the things that they typically do and the commonalities between all of them. If I know that most of my clients are making only anywhere between $50,000 to $60,000, and I see something coming down the pipeline from government, changes, laws, and all this stuff, then okay, how can I relate that to these people that are making this much money, knowing the fact that if things don't change, I can tell them, I can show them the laws, I can teach them what this means. And so that way they'll start to see you need to take action now. I don't care if that's with me, I don't care if that's with anybody else. My goal is to teach you so that way you will know and make the right moves for yourself and your family. So my experience is always relating your findings, your results to the customer narrative. So you will understand how to relate your information back to them the way that they can receive it. Does that help? I don't know. Maybe. Takia, did you unmute?
Okay.
Did that help or?
I've just kind of had a different experience,
Okay.
so I'll just
No,
say
no, and tell us your experience so that way we can kind of.
most people that I've come across, they're just like, oh, well, you know, the average person that I speak to, they're not really interested in about being educated on laws. That so I don't know.
So, but that's also good. Now think about what you just said. These people are not interested in the laws. They're not interested in learning. So that tells me education wise, they are not to say that they're dumb people or anything, but that just means that they are not at a point to where they know how to educate themselves on a constant basis. So whether that and that's when I'll start to figure out, okay, what education level are they at? Because then if I start to see most of the people that are responding to what you're saying typically have a MBA or a master's degree or whatever and higher, they'll make a move. The people below that typically won't. So that starts to tell me who I really need to start dealing with as well. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. There's a kind of, I mean, it's something we're going to test, So again, these are things that we're going to start to talk to people and really find those things out because everything we're coming up with right now is just theory. Once the theory is on paper, now we can go in deeper and start to answer these questions. Okay. All right, so the next area, and Faith, I'm sorry, thank you so much for participating on this on this section as well. We're going to keep going, and we're going to start to answer those questions too, Faith. I think we're going to start to really dig deeper into the narratives, and also I want to test what Takia was saying as well, if that changeover is a factor. I mean, I've been through it. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It depends on when you catch me. So that's all I can say. All right. So, and do you have anything else to add, Faith? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. We're gonna
Thank
come
you.
back. We're coming back around to you. So yeah. So keep uh, staying with us. So we're going to move on to the next section here. Let's see. This is going to be, do you have a business model? Okay. This one, I want to kind of hear from everybody. If you can just let me know, you can either type it, you can either say it. Just let me know if you have a business model right now, currently. All right. Tario says no.
Do you what exactly do you mean by business model? As a business plan or a
Awesome.
structure of how you do business?
Awesome. I'm so glad you asked. Now, so a business plan. So this is the confusion that I must say I received growing up, going into entrepreneurship. They always told me, you need a business plan, you need a marketing plan, you need a bank account, you need these things. Okay, cool. But ultimately, you really want a business model first. A business plan, it's hard to fill out a business plan when you have no idea about your numbers. You have no idea. It's a prediction. It's a prediction of what your numbers could be based on these type of people that I'm attracting or that I'm trying to go after. So a business model works a lot leaner, meaning that it's always changeable. I can test something really quickly, and then if it doesn't work, scratch it out, put down something else. I can test it then and go to the next thing. So this business model will allow me to quickly test each area of my business to make sure that it's functioning the way I need it to function quickly, and then also go ahead and make sure I'm generating the money from the service or product that I'm producing. So it looks like let's see. Pamela says yes. It's not formatted like this, but I do have one. Cool. Keela said no. Faith said yes. Okay, perfect. For those who do not have a business model, and also those that already do, um, I would suggest going through this process, maybe just translating your information if you already currently have it onto this worksheet. If you go to the next page here, I have a full size. You can print this out and you can start to use it. One of the things that I learned from Takia is to do a printout and laminate it. And if you laminate it, you can use a dry erase marker, and you can always, just write on it and then just scratch it out, or just wipe it off, so that works awesome. I like that idea. Another thing you can do is use sticky notes. You can use sticky notes in these areas too, so you can write down your thought on a sticky note and then just place it on these areas. That just helps you save paper, but you can work however you need to. I am not going to go too far into this unless you need to. I mean, I'm willing to do so. This is just one of those areas that's really a part of business development and not brand development. But ultimately, this does affect your brand, because the problems that you solve will affect your brand. It affects how we deliver it. It affects where we deliver it. It affects the presentation. So whatever problems the solutions that you're giving for these problems, it does matter in your brand. Your unique value proposition. These things matter because we need to make sure that is like in the open, or just obvious to your customers, to let them know what is that unique value that you're bringing to them that no other company is doing. So that's going to be important. So, and then the channels that you use. So all these things are affected, I'm sorry, your brand is affected by all of these areas. So by just, you can type in the chat, if you need us to go over this area, please say yes or no. And if so, then we will, our next session, we can actually start to dig further into this. So if this is something that you want to do one-on-one with us, that's no problem. We can do a one-on-one as well. Or if you want us to do it as a group, we can definitely do it as a group. So what would you prefer? One-on-one? Okay. All right. So just got one answer. Anybody else want to go over this section, or you just want to do like maybe a one-on-one? Okay. All right. So we're going to move on. Okay. So whoever wants to definitely do a one-on-one, please reach out to me. I'm going to put my email address, and this is direct to me, creativegroup.com for one-on-one session. Okay. So just email me when you want to set up a one-on-one. We can do it just like this. We can do it through Zoom, and we can start to plug away through these things. And I'll let you know as far as pricing and all that stuff. We'll talk specifically about that. Because y'all are a part of this group, you do get special treatment, because you are actually giving me value, as well as, I definitely want to see your products and services out there as well. So so we'll talk a little bit more about this during emailing us. We'll talk a little bit more. All right. So moving on, like I said, you can print this out and start to kind of use it. If not, we'll definitely go over this a little bit further. All right, so the next section that we want to talk about, now everybody can unmute at this point. We want to just kind of talk about some things as far as your business roles, like the people that are on your team. So whenever if you want to just give us your answers and stuff like that, that'll be awesome. We can kind of talk a little bit more about this. So ultimately, I want you to think about like 17 hats. There's this app out there right now called 17 hats. Basically, it puts you in every role that you basically need to be in for running your business. Ultimately, I've done it before. You wear yourself out. You're mad. You're upset. You don't have time for your family. All these different things. So ultimately, what we want to do, although you are probably in these positions now, what you really want to start to understand is really who do you need in specific positions. So, if y'all can just kind of unmute, I'm gonna talk about operations. So operations, typically every business needs somebody to handle operations. That is different from being a founder. That there are times where founder and operation, it can be one, but ultimately you got to understand somebody in operations is dealing more in the business rather than on the business. The founder typically deals on the business. They make sure that there is potential of growth and they work with other people, the other management, to actually help grow the business. So I'm gonna call on some folks just to kind of see exactly relevance and all this stuff, responsibilities. So Tario, tell
Mhm.
me the relevance. Now, this is how we're breaking this down. We're breaking this down by the business role, being an operations or operating manager or whatever you want to call them. So if you think about the relevance of that particular role in your business, in your type of business, what would you rate that as far as importance? So let's just say 5 being the greatest, 1 being the least. What would you rate that in your business?
I would have to say a 5.
Okay, all right. And what type of responsibilities do you think that is going to be a part of that role?
That's my event coordinator and planner, and that's my everything. My operations person is the person that makes everything go. She's the
Okay,
one who reaches out to, if I'm having a basketball tournament, she reaches out to make sure the referees are there and vice versa. As
right.
well as if I'm doing a after school program, making sure my tutors are there, making sure the athletic portion of the after school event is there, making sure the snacks is coordinated.
Okay, perfect.
So my operations guy, that's my workhorse.
Okay, perfect. And so within knowing that, um, who would you say would be in charge of that? Is that something currently you're doing, or is
That's
there?
me.
Okay, that is you right now. Okay,
Yes, that is me.
now
Absolutely, that is
is right. Now let me ask you: is that a role that you want to take on, or is that a role that you would want to have somebody in charge of?
me. For the foreseeable future, I
Mhm.
would want to keep that. I would want that to be my role aside of being the founder. I would
Mhm.
want that to be my responsibility because I don't feel like anyone would care about that like I do.
Okay, all right. That's
I wouldn't be able to pay anyone to care about it as much as I do.
okay. That makes sense. Definitely. That's another section that I think I need to put in is time frame. So I'm glad you said that. And these are like little nuggets that I start to see as we have these conversations. Um, but yes, that makes sense. You may want that person to, or if it's you want to be in that role for a specific time frame or a
Mhm.
specific phase of your business, and then once that is over, that's something that you can,
Mhm.
train or have somebody take that over. So
Yeah, and the goal of the end game from earlier of my business is in 10 to 12 years have it in a state that it can run without me,
okay,
to where I don't
perfect.
even have to be involved in it for everything to run just
Okay,
like I was involved in it. So
nice. Hmm. Now, and this is all prediction at this point, but if you needed to pay that person to be in that role, how much would you pay them?
To do all sports and educational things, I would say $40,000.
40,000. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So you would just put that information in that field, in the budget field. And this is, like I said, this is still all prediction. This you have to basically be able to run your numbers to see if this is actually, um, you know,
Feasible, huh?
feasible, as well
Yeah.
as if through in the industry itself, once you start to do the industry research, is that really how much you pay a person that's going to handle your operations?
Hmm.
So
Gotcha.
you have to make sure we validate each part of this, to start to understand, okay, yeah, this is something that I truly need to focus on, or, are all the responsibilities listed, because this is something that you can always add to, although the fields on this worksheet is small in this area. You can always continue to type in the field, which will it'll scroll down on you, or you can write this on a piece of paper, because some responsibilities, there may be a lot of responsibilities, so it may be one of those things where you will have to place it on a separate piece of paper. Um, but I hope everybody kind of understands that. I'm going to go through one more with somebody, just so that you can kind of see how this works. Um, let's go move on to designer. And I'm going to bring Annette on under designer. So Annette, go ahead, unmute for me. And how you doing? How you doing?
Good, good.
Okay, and so tell me, like, as far as your designer, now, designer can be like, whether that's clothes, whether that's graphics, whether that's anything that basically they would need to design. What would you rate the importance of that designer in your business?
I'm definitely a four,
Okay,
because you want to make sure that this person has the knowledge and the know-how to make a product that'll catch someone's eye.
okay,
That'll also, portray your brand how you want it to be seen by the public.
hmm,
You definitely want it neat, clean. You don't want it sloppy, just thrown together. Um, if you're not an interior designer that knows which colors go together and things like that, you want someone who's able to take your vision and materialize it into your product.
right, exactly, nice, definitely. Now, what would you say the responsibilities would be for that person?
I would definitely to keep the brand fresh. As you develop more products, as you go, throughout the life of your product or your brand, period, to be able to interpret how your company is going and bring that to life into your product.
Okay,
So that's one of the responsibilities, to keep their ear to the ground. As we change generations, what may have been cool 30 years
right,
ago isn't cool now. So they
yes.
definitely need to be able to keep their ear to the ground and keep up with the trends and so on and so forth. I know a lot of us don't want to believe that we follow trends, but we tend to, want to include those trends in our brands so we can, stay current, stay up to date.
Right. Exactly. Nice. Definitely. One of the things before I forget is all these roles, you have to also know that there has to be some type of um, education involved with, consistently being on top of your game. So whether that's an operations person, designer, researcher, or whatever, you still, in your business, there still needs to be areas of learning for whatever role that person's in. So that way, so setting aside a budget for just education is going to be very important. So that way you can start to pour that money back into certain things so they can stay on top of their game, so your business can also stay relevant to the industry as it is. So yeah, that's definitely important. I'm glad you mentioned that, Annette. um, Now, also, person in charge. So, who would the person in charge for your designer would be?
Me
All
at the
right.
current time. Current time with me, that is definitely not my strong suit. So in the future, I do plan to, hire someone to take that over. Someone who just has the natural knack and insight to be able to create those types of things. It took me just about 7 months to develop one label, and it still looks pretty rudimentary. So, I would definitely employ someone as the time comes. I live right near a university, plenty of, design students over there that I could tap into and keep that
Yes.
fresh face. So, yeah.
Awesome, definitely. So let's just say, okay, you have a designer taking care of all these things that you're going to need throughout your brand, your business. Okay, what do you see as far as a budget wise? What would you pay them?
As the company grows into the moneymaker that I plan for it to be, I would definitely dedicate at least 5% of my budget to them. That number is going to fluctuate as we begin to bring in more revenue. Here now, it may be, a couple free meals or something.
Yep.
Just, hey, I can't do too much for you monetary wise. I pay you and try it in layers.
All right.
But as time progresses, easily, if we're coming out with new products consistently, easily 30, 40, 50,000 a year.
Nice, definitely. All right, perfect. And like I said, again, these numbers right now are just kind of just predictions. So these are not hard numbers. The only reason that I'm having you put numbers to them, so that way, as you start to get everything together, you would know how much, like, okay, I'm off a little bit, or hey, I can probably put a little bit more of a budget in this area, and then we start to, make those moves whenever it's time. You got to know when it's time to actually start to hire on, and you have to also understand the time when you really just don't have the time to handle this role. So, and then there may be times where you actually get an intern, or you may find some help with through family and friends. So, but just think about those budgets as well as you start to grow the business. Um, Perfect. And so what I want you to do is continue down these areas. So what I did was just list some just very generic roles that most businesses typically have. One of the ones that I do want to focus on is the founder. The founder is technically you, the business owner. The business owner's roles are just, the responsibilities, man, it can be massive. But, you want to start to, you may have a lot on your plate now, but you have to start to delegate those things within the your team, so that way you're not working so hard, and you can start to delegate and automate a lot of things. Another thing that you want to look at is in each of these roles, you want to start to look at things that systems already exist. So there may be automated systems that may help you design certain things. You may not have to design your label. There may be systems that you can just put in your logo, put in the information that you want to do, and it just kicks off some type of design for you. I'm not saying you should do that, trust and believe, but I'm just giving you an example. But but there may be systems out there that may work for certain things that will take away that responsibility, that will free you up to do other things that you need to do. So look at these responsibilities and start to find solutions for them. So again, go ahead and fill out, and this is something you can do offline. You can start to fill out these areas and just do your predictions, basically filling in things that you think that, the responsibilities, the budgets and all that stuff. And then we're also going to validate those areas as well. At the end of this has some extra areas. If there is a role that is not listed, you can write that into some of these areas and then just follow suit along the rest of these. So from there, I mean, that's pretty much it. I didn't want to go too far into the next sections, so that's why I broke these out. Like I said, this is the pretty easy section. It's just really just getting your thoughts down on paper. Because we're going to start to come back and validate those points to see if you're on track or if you need to pivot, or if you need to try something else, because ultimately if you do not make those changes now, your target or your audience is going to make you change anyway, because you're going to see a lack of income coming in. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. Other than that, like I said, the next sections that we're going to hit on, let me go back to the table of contents here. Let's see. There we go. All right, so the next sections we're going to talk about is going to be creating your brand foundation. This is where we get into the meat of things. So I will post this on our next session. We will talk about when that would be. So I'm gonna send out another survey just to let me know what times. I'm gonna give you a specific date, but I will just need to know what times work best for you. Again, if you cannot make it at that time or day, we will have a recording, so you can always go back and look at the recording and give us your feedback. On this session today, one of your homework assignments would be to give us feedback on what we covered so far. Some of this stuff may be just real simple, nothing real fancy or nothing real strategic about it, but I still want to get your feedback on what we went over today. If you've learned something, if you didn't learn anything, or if there's something that I need to start including into any of these sections. And please just give me your feedback. You can post this in the Facebook group, the private Facebook group. And that way our team can actually look over your notes and everything and just start to make the changes that we need. So we'll have a good workbook to go off of. Let's see. Other than that, like I said, section 2, we're also going to be talking about identifying your target audience. This is going to be one of the meat of this workbook, because that's something to where we're really going to start to validate, go through how to actually do interviews, market research, and all those things. So that's going to be really good to tune in on. So make sure y'all try to make it to that. And creating your brand personality. We'll go through the brand personality spectrum. I'll have you do that exercise and keep it going from there. So does anybody have any questions, feedback? I know I'm trying not to be so dry. It's all new to me, so I do want y'all to have fun with this. I'm gonna try to get more participation with everybody, because I don't want just listening in on me, because it gets boring. I understand, but I do want more feedback. And if y'all have any questions or have any feedback right now, please unmute and let me know what you think.
I just wanted to say that I've enjoyed what we've been over so far. It really had me really thinking about a lot of things that I don't have together. So I really appreciate this.
Definitely. I appreciate you, and I'm glad we can start to, put things together for you, because, starting a business, depending on what experience or exposure that you have, it's hard to, there isn't a book on how to start a business. There's so many different ways to do it. And even our workbook is just from my findings, different things that I started to put together to connect the dots to make it streamline and work for me. But there's always other things that you have to implement that may not be a part of this, but you still have to implement with your education or system or whatever. So I'm just glad that I can put something together to kind of give you a little direction, and then it'll help you start to think beyond and, you know, grow from there. So anybody else? Nope. And nothing on chat. Perfect. Okay. Well, again, I appreciate y'all. Homework assignment, like I said, please give me feedback. That's one of the things that we really need with this beta group. It can be a quick, you know, a quick sentence here and there. Just let us know. I really want a rational feedback, something that kind of explains, okay, hey, you did good. Maybe I didn't explain something very well. Maybe I need, you know, some more content here, some examples. I know people are visual, so you may want to see more pictures. So just let me know. Like I said, again, I want to make this good. So. But I do appreciate everybody. I did okay today. I think we started at 6, it's 7:30, so about an hour and a half. Hopefully the next session well, I know the next session will be at least an hour 45 to 2 hours, just because of the identifying your target audience. So just please prepare for that. Again, this is going to be something that we've worked in, so just make sure you have your laptops or, you know, a pen and paper or something like that so you can take notes. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I appreciate y'all tuning in. As soon as this actually finishes downloading, I will upload this to Facebook, the Facebook group, and just ask questions and keep it going. All right. All right. I appreciate
All right.
y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Talk to you soon.
All righty.